Hey everyone, and welcome to Ink Spotlights from Comix Wellspring. This is the series where we shine the spotlight on immensely talented creators who print with us. Today, we're joined by Shequeta Smith to talk about her book, the most recent Kickstarter, and a little bit more. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to talk to you. Congrats on your Kickstarter, first off, but tell us about your book as well.
So my book is Young Grandmaster Choi. It is the prequel to my graphic novel series Raven Choi. It's about a Black girl who grows up in Korea after her parents pass away. She's raised by a Korean family, adopted by a Korean family as her dad's best friend. And so she becomes a Choi. So this prequel, she's 6 years old. She's going to school in Korea. She just got to Korea pretty much. And of course, kids try to bully her because she's different. So this is a story of bullying, of perseverance, of just kind of how she handles it. She ends up getting into a fight on the first day of school. Her and the girl don't know how to fight, so they end up in Hapkido classes together. They become best friends in the first book. In the second book that's coming out, she's a yellow belt now, and so she gets a solo in the cultural festival that the whole team is going to. But a little girl doesn't like she has a belt. She's jealous. And so she starts to go in on her about not being Korean. And Raven, my character, she's happy being African American, but the little girl is just going to like keep coming at her. So she ends up finding out a very little known fact about African Americans in Korea that kind of helps boost her confidence. And she ends up doing her solo really well. So it's a book that I created to kind of help kids learn how to read, because a lot of people don't know this. A lot of kids learn how to read through comics, because it's just a way of having pictures and words on the same page. And then it's just also just about bullying. So just kind of how she handles it using martial arts, using Hapkido to kind of channel her inner rage and her anger and her anxiety, and just kind of going up against the bullies. She has a superpower.
Oh, that's so beautiful. All of that. There's so much to kind of decompress there. And I love the message you're giving to people as well. Like a way to, how to like literally, I guess literally combat bullying and like
Yeah.
overcome those situations and like what kids go through. And I think a gateway for kids to be introduced not only to comics, but just to reading in general and
Yeah.
understanding the correlation between images and pictures. It's such a powerful tool to use.
Mhm.
And making it relatable to people at that age. So I love finding
Yeah.
creators that do children's books in that sense because they're kind of scarce in that way as
Yeah.
well. What was some of the personal inspiration that you may have had for the story when you started creating it?
Okay, so with Raven Choi, the personal inspiration was 24 years ago. I went on a study abroad trip to Korea. I was in college at NC State. There was an ad in the paper to go on this trip to Korea for like a week or maybe a week or two, and I submitted to go, and so I went. And so when I was there, the people treated me so kind. They were just like, and this is the old Korea. This is not Korea like Gangnam style and like New York type of Korea. This is like they were like food vendors with like larvae and like just like like stuff that you're just like, okay, that's interesting. So it was all very new to me. It was just such an eye-opening world to kind of see this country that had been like so like monoracial, kind of seeing me coming to this country, and they're like, oh, a black person. So they hadn't really seen a lot of black people outside of the US military when I was there. So it was just really cool to kind of connect with them. And I just felt so safe and just so protected when I was there. I felt like they really got me. And so on the plane ride on the way back from Korea, I had this idea like, what if I lived there? Like, what if I was adopted by a Korean family? And so that sparked this whole Raven Choi world universe that I've created with the big Raven, which is the adult Raven, and kind of comes back from Korea to America to find a killer of our parents. And then parents have been asking me to do a version for kids, a kid friendly version. And so I was just like, well, let me go back and do a prequel of her growing up in Korea and kind of show the Karate Kid aspect of how she learns martial arts and how she deals with being different and in this other world. So that's where
Oh,
it came
it's
from.
awesome. And so what got you to start creating comics or stories in general? Like where did that path begin for you?
My grandma.
Oh,
Interestingly enough, my grandmother, I was raised partially by my grandmother from the time I was in like the sixth grade. And I mean, I was always around my grandma anyway, but we would go to grocery shopping together. There was Archie and Veronica comics in the grocery store, and I would always ask to buy one, her to buy me one. So she would. And then on Sundays, we kind of began this tradition of her delivering me the funny pages on Sundays. So she would always read the Sunday paper, and she would just come to my room, knock on the door, hand me the funny pages. So that's kind of how I got into comics, was just like through my grandmother. We didn't have comic book shops in North Carolina, in Salisbury, where I'm from. So that was my expose into comics, was the grocery store and the funny pages.
Oh, it's so awesome. I love how that's like transpired and kind of evolved over the years as well.
Yeah.
And you were saying also this is a prequel. Do you want to talk a little bit about your main series as well?
Oh yeah. So the main series we started releasing in 2016. Um, I I had started doing working on this in the year 2001 when I graduated from college. It We kind of did a little bit of art for it, and I started working on a different like comic strip that I wanted to do with some kids at the local college. Nothing ever became of it, and I moved to Hollywood to write movies, and I felt like I couldn't do both. And so I kind of gave up on the whole comic book thing to do write films. And so I worked on some shows and I pursued, I've been pursuing screenwriting professionally for a long time now. But it wasn't until 2008, I think, is when Iron Man came out. I
Mhm.
went to the movies to see Iron Man, and I was just like, I could see the vision of what Marvel was about to do. And I was just like, they're going to go on a run with this. And so I'm like, okay, this is going to be fun. Like, who are the black female characters that I'm going to be able to get behind? So I went to the comic shop down the street and just asked them, like, hey, where are the black women on the cover, like the black Iron Man's, like who am I cheering for here? I knew Wonder Woman, I knew the Hulk and like the main characters, but like who are the black women? And so they were just like,
Yeah.
like, and the comic shops, they know everything about the comic shop, about the comics, and so they couldn't really present with me with a female superhero that was a standalone character. It was like everybody was a part of a group. Like Misty Knight was a part of Heroes for Hire. Storm was a part of the X-Men, and so it was just like, okay, there's nobody by themselves. I think Vixen's a part of Justice League, so it was like there
Mhm.
wasn't anyone that was standalone, and I'm just like, I want somebody that stands on their own. And so the idea of Raven Choi had always been in my head because of Korea. And I wrote it as a movie, and it always got me meetings in Hollywood, but it never sold. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to make it into a graphic novel. And so from 2008 to 2014, I kind of procrastinated and just I started directing films. So I started directing short films. And so then by the time 2014 came, I was like, I'm ready. And so I started working on the book series in secret. I didn't tell anybody for 2 years. And so then we released the first two books in 2016. I launched my company, Shero Comics, to publish the books. And it's been a roller coaster ride ever since. So we released 5 books. We have a trade paperback now. And so that's the adult version of Raven, that is more of a revenge type of story where she comes back to America to find the person who killed her parents. And so the prequel is a lot lighter, a lot happier, and a lot more kid friendly, less bloody.
Well, that's such a good like range to develop as well. Like you're bringing out a way to draw in the kids to everything, but then when you're selling to the parents to the kids book, you could be like, well, if you guys want to enjoy something as well, there's
Right.
this. And I love that. It's a great marketing tool that you probably unintentionally did at that point as well, I'm sure. But you're absolutely right. There's not enough like just in general black representation in comics and
Yeah.
especially indie comics. And it's
Yeah.
something that whenever I do inspired ink or spotlights and stuff like that, I always try to find like a very diverse group of people because, like, honestly, like when you Google comic book creators, it's nothing but a bunch of old white dudes.
Yeah.
And it's like really, like, it really is discouraging and it's like not very appealing, especially if you're looking for inspiration.
Hmm.
And so I love your point of, where are our female like main character heroes? Like,
Yeah.
there just simply isn't enough of them, and or
Mhm.
there's not enough that's being accepted to be put into mainstream comics and everything. So
Right.
your approach, what you're doing, it has such power, such meaning, such a strong message for creators of all ages. It doesn't matter who or what or where. Like, and I love that because that is something, especially in the indie comic community, we really do need more of. And I love like just highlighting creators like you because you don't get enough attention, to be honest. And
Yeah.
it's heartbreaking at cons and interviews and all this stuff. I love finding creators like you because there's a mass and it blows me away how sometimes they could just get shoved into a corner.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is so strong, so powerful. I love that you just had another successful Kickstarter. Is there anything in
I did
2025
too.
that you have a yeah, honestly, I feel you that we're running
It
one
was
right
very
now for
hard. It
Apollo.
was a hard
It's
Kickstarter.
it's a stressful month, I know.
Yes.
Is there anything in 2025 you want to highlight for upcoming releases or a project you're working on, or maybe even any
Um,
cons you have booked?
the goal is to finish the last two books or the next two books of the series. So this is book two out of four. So we're going to do four books and then go into trade. So the goal is to finish the last two books in the Young Grandmaster Choi, the first volume of it, and get it out there. I have a distributor that's interested in publishing or distributing the trade paperback once we get to that. So that's going to be my goal next year, is to get those last two books ready so we can get out there and be like the rest of the Dogmans and whatever, and kind of make this into like a a household name. That's my goal. Is like I want Raven's younger Master Choi to be like Pokemon or like Sailor Moon. So that's been my goal from the beginning. So I mean, I call it manga, but it's really manhwa because of course it's taking place in Korea. But a lot of people in America don't know what manhwa is. So I just tell them manga, and they know that because it's so huge here. But we drew it in like a chibi style of art. So that's mainly the thing, is like finishing the last two books and to start probably doing some licensing around it, because I think little black girls can need this character. And I think they will be really excited about having a character on pillows and all the things that I used to buy. Like I feel like back in the 80s, it was like Lisa Frank had all these like cool stickers and stuff. Like I want to have that for little kids to be able to do that with this character and her friends. We actually have a coloring book that it's about to be here today. Actually, I'm waiting on it right now. So that was a part
Rad.
of the Kickstarter. We did a book, so part two of this book, and we did a coloring book with the Kickstarter. So the Kickstarter orders go out this week, hopefully, and then like I said, just licensing, and then I have another division of my company, Shero Games, that we're trying to launch or get put up. So we have Raven Choi, the older version of Raven Choi. We have a prototype as an endless runner right now. So I'm trying to get the money to finish the game and to get it up, released and shipped and stuff. So that's something we're also working on, and just trying to take over the world, man. That's
I
really what
love
my
it.
goal is to take over the world. I'm like Pinky and the Brain. That's been my whole goal for like my whole life. It feels like Pinky and the Brain. I'm the brain.
Oh, I love it. I love everything about it. I love what you're doing, what you're planning, what you've been a part of. Like, it's very inspiring. It's super rad. And I think it needs to be spread across the world in every way possible. And we'll definitely help you however we can. Whenever you have another project coming up, please, like, book another spotlight. We'll help
Okay.
promote it, tag us in anything you're doing so we could help, spread the word of what your project is. It's
Awesome.
so meaningful and it's so powerful. And I'm so excited for your future and what you've done, and we'll definitely get an Inspired Ink interview because it sounds like there's so much of your history to digest and just like take in, and just
Yeah.
like really show the world and really show you like what you've overcome over the years too, because
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure none of this has been easy,
None
and
of
it's a
it.
battle.
Not even a moment of it has been easy. But people tell me I make it look easy. So that's the interesting part, because if someone thinks that it's easy for you, then they don't really reach out to help. So it makes it even harder for you. So that's something that I think a lot of women should probably talk more about it, because when we make things look easy, a lot of people don't want to come to our assistance and help. And so that makes it even twice as hard than it should be. So yeah, definitely.
Very true. No, honestly, you're right. I get that completely. Well, I love everything you're doing. Please, like, we'll speak soon. I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited for your new year. Do you want to give any shout outs before we sign off today?
Just want to give a shout out to my whole team with the book, Quazran, Bethany, Desi, um, yeah, my whole team, my colorist, everybody on my team, I want to give a shout out to, because we really worked on this book. Ali Vaughn is my colorist. I'm sorry, I'm like blanking for a minute, but everybody really worked hard on this. This is such a happy project that they actually want to work on it. Like, Quasran kind of bullied me into doing it, because it was just like I had a lot of other stuff going on, and he's like, "Okay, are we going to do Younger Master Choi too? This is my artist," and I'm just like, "Yeah, sure." I hadn't even written one word of it, but it was just like, so my team loves the book so much that they even push me to do the book, even when I'm not ready to do the book. So that's
It's a
been
good team.
awesome to have. It's very good team. So it's been awesome to kind of have their support, and just everybody that supported the Kickstarter. I've mentioned it several times on social media how very extremely difficult this Kickstarter was to do at this time. It's just like a lot of uncertainty. So, and then the strikes and stuff in Hollywood. So a lot of people weren't able to contribute this time, but we persevered. It was very difficult. It was a learning experience. And now we have a coloring book and a book to send out there into the world. And we have new merchandise. So we have do Young Grandmaster Choi stuff on the website. We have a blanket, we have a teddy bear, we have a doll. So this is the doll that we released during the Kickstarter. This is a bobblehead doll that was like a part of it. So it says Young Grandmaster Choi on the board of it.
That's so
So
rad.
yeah, you guys, the people that contributed, they really helped move this project along. And so just thank you to everybody that supported Shero.
Awesome. And you said this could all be found on your website along with your
Yeah.
books as well?
Yeah. So if you go to
Perfect. We'll make sure that's
sherocomics.com, everything's there.
awesome. We'll make sure that's in the episode description right here so everyone can go and support this creator. Shequeta, this has been an awesome and interesting spotlight. Thank you so much for stepping in it today. And I'm so excited to talk to you next time. So until next time, I hope you have a great one.
You too.